Selamünaleyküm beyler.
Alo alo.
How are you guys doing today? Good? Everything good? Well, I want to say thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. This is my first time here in Istanbul, Turkey. And I can say, wow, this is an amazing experience.
Çok iyi bir
Herkes çok iyi.
Since I got off the plane, everybody's been very, very nice. The town is beautiful. I got the time to drive around a little bit today, see some of your culture. It's just by far one of the best places I've seen. As you know, I travel around the world, do a lot of these appearances and whatnot, and you know, usually I get a chance, like today, to talk to some of you guys about the experiences I've had. And something I'd like to mention is how I not only became Mr. Olympia, but how I was able to retain the title this year. So I'd like to start with that. Right after last year's Mr. Olympia contest, you know, the first thing I thought was, wow, like I actually achieved my dream and to become the 13th Mr. Olympia. And, you know, I was really excited. Well, then I realized I had to go stay on the diet and go compete that following weekend and do it all over again over at the Shuru Classic in Mumbai, India. And then normally when you win a contest, you have time to let everything sink in and be excited and all this other stuff and everybody tell you how great you are. Well, in my case, it was completely different. Everyone asked, can you do it again next year? And I'm thinking, wow, like I just got done winning the Olympia. I should be able to relax and eat pie and cake and maybe drink a beer, but not for me. I had to get back on the road and do a lot of appearances and stay on track for next year. Well, going into this year, I had a lot of pressure, obviously, to see if I can win again. And one of the coolest things was that I was able to rely on my sponsors, especially with Team Muscle Tech, to give me motivation and all the supplements I needed to help myself grow into the contest this year. Really, a lot of people ask, so like, what do you take? And things of that nature. Well, you know, I usually only take maybe 4 to 5 different supplements, especially as of right now. Number one, I always take a whey protein. I usually take the nitro isolate 65. I usually take that once I wake up and then usually right after I train. And then usually I take a nitro amino FX that I usually take in between my meals. What that does is it allows me to have enough branched amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, so that I can make sure that I'm, you know, in a muscle building state for a longer period of time. And then primarily before I train, I usually do either a neurocore or nano vapor. Usually before cardio, I may do like a hydroxystem or a neurocore, and then before I train, I usually take the nano vapor. And I'm anywhere in between, I probably say 2 to 3 scoops of the nano vapor because I'm really trying to get really volumized and get all the veins going and big pumps in the gym. I noticed that helps out a lot. And then post-workout, I usually immediately do either Creacore or MyoBuild. So really that's primarily how I take my supplements throughout the day. I'm usually eating anywhere from 6 to 8 times a day, usually every 2.5 to 3 hours. Usually they would be consistent of steak, chicken, or fish. I used to say fish. I don't think anyone in here really likes to eat fish that much. It's very, very difficult for me. Anyone that knows like about competitive bodybuilding usually eats fish to clean out the skin and things of that nature. But in my competitive diet, I'm usually eating like, I want to say up to 2.5 kilos of fish a day, and it's not very fun.
2,5 kilo balık yiyormuş abi.
Günde 2,5 kilo balık. İyiymiş.
Yeah. I don't even want to look at fish when I'm done.
Şeyin balık Cem Yılmaz var.
He's ready to throw up, but yeah, that's usually how I go about my day with diet, and then also with my training. I'm usually training 6 days a week. I'm trying to get in every body part usually once or twice a week. This year, getting ready for the Olympia, my biggest thing was I wanted a bigger upper chest, a bigger chest. That was something that I noticed, like over time, you know, I needed to have better posing. Not when I was actually flexing, but more importantly when I was just All the great Olympians, Mr. Olympias, they all looked perfect just standing still without even posing.
Tüm Mr. Olimpiyelere baktığımızda poz verdiklerinde mükemmel bir görüntü için göğüsleri daha önemli. Bill Hayne'e örnek vermek gerekiyor. Büyük göğüsleri. Öyle dedi, adam yanlış çevirmiyor.
Yanlış çevirmiştim. Ben dinlemedim o kısmı. Şu anda video şey.
What I tried to make sure I did was not necessarily focus on just how much weight I was pushing, but more like the consistency with my form and how everything felt, and then also making sure that I was always staying on top of my supplements and I was always staying on top of my meals to make sure that those nutrients would help push inside the muscle to help it grow. Another body part was back and also quads. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't losing any ground next to, you know, the other guys like Branch Warren or Kai Green or even Dennis Wolf. You know, they all had big legs, and I wanted to make sure that mine would compare well. So usually that's what competitive bodybuilding is. You kind of see where you stand, and in my eyes, I feel like, well, I am the best, but I try to see what other guys have that is really good because I admire some of these guys that actually compete against me. I respect all of them. I know what their strengths are, I know what their weaknesses are, but I usually try to overtrain where I may find their strength is and where I may not be as strong, and then counterbalance everything that way. So then when they try to hit a certain pose, it's like, you're not better than me now. But so really, that's how I went about my training, and then throughout the year I did a lot of appearances, I got to meet a lot of people. And it was pretty difficult to be able to travel and still eat. And that's one of the cool things that I noticed with having a sponsor such as Team Muscle Tech. They were able to give me like a lot of sample packs and stuff like that, because everybody asks like, how do you eat when you travel? Like, how do you take your supplements? And it's like, well, obviously I can't take the big jugs of protein and creatine and stuff on the plane. And get them in samples or even put them in a little container, and then I know exactly how much I need, and then I can always, you know, make sure I use them while I'm away. And really, it helped out a lot, because sometimes I'd be in a different country where the food wasn't that good. Unlike here, actually here I will admit that the food is really good, but there's been some places where the food is pretty awful. So I really had to make sure that my supplements were staying consistent. Because the only way that these supplements are going to work is you take them when you need, when it's time to take them. You actually have to take them, okay? But you also have to eat. You have to make sure that you're eating right and you're taking your supplements correctly. They actually have labels on the back, so then you take them. I know some people say, well, I'm sure Phil probably takes 5 scoops. Well, no, I only take what it says, because these have been engineered for guys like me. And I feel that I've tried to take, I remember one time I said, okay, well, I'm going to take 4 scoops of Nalgene and see what happens. That wasn't a good idea. I kind of said, you know, you think more is better, but actually sometimes you have to understand that these supplements are designed, you know, for optimal athletes, and that's why they give you a range from 1 scoop to 2 to 3.
Her ne kadar vücudunuz büyük olsa da kaldırabileceğiniz bir sınır vardır.
And it's okay to start at the very beginning to get to the end of what I would do.
Etiketli yazana uymayın.
Let's face it, normally a person grabs a bottle of protein or pre-workout, and they'll say, okay, well, what does Phil Heath do, or what does Branch Warren, or what does this guy do? And they'll say, oh, he does 3 scoops. Well, the guy or girl will do the maximum amount. Well, this person, he or she may not have taken 1 supplement ever in their life, and they may not have the same effect. They actually may go backwards and not feel good. Well, I always tell people, that's why they tell you to start slow, and then you progressively take a larger dose. It's no different than reading in a magazine saying Phil Heath bench presses 200 kilos. Would you try to bench press 200 kilos the first time you walk into the gym? Probably not, because you probably get hurt. Well, it's the same thing.
10 kez geçti ya, 10 kez. Bu kadar oldu.
En başta kimse 200 kilo bench basamıyor.
So that's definitely a tip for everyone, because I know when I first started bodybuilding, you thought always, I'm going to do identically what this bodybuilder was doing, and I had to realize I'm at the time I was only weighing, I was weighing maybe 80 kilos, so I was thinking, well, I can't eat like a person that weighs 120 kilos or 130 kilos. I have to maybe eat like a guy that would be 90 kilos. And then once I got to 90 kilos, then I can say, okay, let's find someone that eats like 100 and then move gradually, because then you're actually gaining good lean muscle instead of, we all see guys that fluctuate in weight really dramatic, where they'll get real big and then they look really big in a t-shirt, and then when they take it off at the gym, they look like the Michelin Man. They look like nothing. They look like a big slob. They don't look like a bodybuilder. Well, the way I try to go about my
tişörtlerin altından gayet iyi gözüküyorlar ama tişörtü çıkarınca iyi gelişmeklerini görüyorsunuz.
Step has to be done perfect. You don't have to go here so fast, because usually when you go too fast, you make a lot of mistakes. And the way that I've been able to become Mr. Olympia so fast is because I tried to stay patient and not make the mistakes of a lot of other people wanting it too fast. And also, I know in the States we always say, and I'm sure even here, you may have heard the term practice makes perfect. Well, I don't really believe in that. Because you can also practice bad habits. You can practice bad habits in the gym with improper technique. You can also practice bad food habits. You can say, well, I'm getting 50 grams of carbs and 50 grams of protein, but I'm eating it at McDonald's. So that doesn't really matter. And you could also be doing bad habits with not taking your supplements correctly, and you're not receiving the results that you're supposed to because you heard from a guy at the gym or at the store that, oh, I take it this way. Well, that person is that person. You need to do it like how we kind of tell you, and then as over time you can become more of an expert and figure out what you need to do. And that's something I like to touch on real fast. I mean, when I got with Team Muscle Tech, I was able to get all these cool supplements, and I started realizing, okay, the best thing I need to do is actually start taking more progress pictures of myself and seeing how I felt and how I looked with these supplements. And then I can figure out, okay, well, this is working better than this one, because obviously, as you can see, we have hydroxyphenolate, and we also have a hydroxystem. Well, the two are kind of different, and I noticed, wow, one of them actually has a little bit more appetite suppressant than the other, and I thought, oh gosh, no wonder I can't eat 7 8 meals a day. Wow, this doesn't pertain to me. I need to take the other kind. And I always do it a food journal. Does anyone, I know I'm speaking English, but does anyone do a food journal by any chance? Like, no one? Okay, well, anyway, basically what I do is I write down everything that I eat throughout the day. And then I also write down how I felt throughout the day. And then I also take photos every week. And I talk about how much did I weigh, and then when I get ready for a contest, year by year, I can say, well, 12 weeks out, I weighed this much, this is how I look, this is what I ate, and this is how I felt. And then I can compare those photos, because as I get ready for a contest, everyone at the gym will say, Phil, you look awesome, you look great, you look fantastic. And for me, I don't really want to hear that, because they're my friends, and of course they're going to tell me I look great, but I'm trying to become Mr. Olympia or stay Mr. Olympia, so I'm always being very critical of myself, and I'm sure a lot of you that start exercise programs, you want to see the results right away. Well, in order to see some progress, I always recommend taking pictures and writing down everything you do, because then you can find out what exactly will work for you. And like I said, I mean, it's helped me a lot. I've been doing that since October 8th, 2002. I've always written down everything, and I think that's allowed me to realize what works and what doesn't. Obviously, it's worked very well. I was able to go into this year's Olympia, you know, with a lot of confidence, and you know, I was able to win again, and it was very difficult, but I was very excited, and you know, I was able to pull a lot of motivation from people like yourselves that I've met through different seminars and stuff throughout the world, and then also my sponsors with Team Muscle Tech and Weeder MI. You know, they've been awesome to me, and making sure that you know, I have everything I need. If I needed new supplements, they would ship them like that day, and I'm pretty fortunate. I'm very blessed to have, you know, a cool sponsor that if I call them up and I say, hey, I need this much protein and carb, you know, and creatine and stuff like that, they say how much you need, and I tell them it comes within a couple days. Whereas I know for everyone else, they don't have that luxury. So I feel like it's Christmas every day. I'm very fortunate. But really, I'm living the dream. I'm having a great time. I get to travel around the world. I get to meet you guys, and really, I just want to say thank you. I'm getting ready, obviously, to do a couple more weeks worth of appearances, and then I get ready for 2013 and start training. I'm going to probably take the month of December completely off and rest, and come January 1st, 2013 is going to be the year of the gift, where I go after number 3, and I know a lot of guys don't want that to happen, of me winning again, but I'm going to make sure that they're going to have to fight me every darn day in that gym, whether it be Jay Cutler, Kyrie, and Dennis Wolf, any guy, I don't care who it is. I'm going to work very hard and take the motivation and take these moments like today to see all of you guys and let myself know that I'm doing this not just for myself, but I'm doing it for you guys. I'm doing it because you guys believe in me, and I just want to say thank you very much. And I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, I'm obviously, I'm from the U.S. and I never thought becoming a bodybuilder I would, become a pro, let alone Mr. Olympia 2 times over now. And then actually being able to tell my friends, like I was texting my best friend earlier today and I said, where are you at in the world? And he works for IBM, and he's like, oh, I'm in New York and I'm flying to Denver, where I live. He was like, where are you? And I said, I'm in Istanbul. He goes, holy crap, Istanbul, Turkey? And I go, yeah, man, this is pretty cool. He goes, and he's known me for 15 years. He says, man, I knew you when you were very small and, extremely small. I was very small, and I used to play basketball, so I was nothing like you see up here. And he was like, remember when you would always say that you wanted to travel the world and see the world? And he said, now you're doing it. And you're doing it at the best of what your job is, which is bodybuilding and being 2-time Mr. Olympia. He goes, what do you think about that? And I said, man, I don't know. I mean, ask me in 5-10 years, maybe ask me when I'm retired, but as of right now, I feel like it's all a dream. And you guys are helping me live that dream. So I just want to say thank you. I'm going to open it up for questions. I get a lot of funny questions, serious questions, whatever. But don't be shy. I know you may have seen me on YouTube videos and different magazine articles. You may have questions pertaining to that. What kind of supplements and stuff like that. The muscle tech product, what kind of food. But understand this. I'm only here for a certain amount of time, so if you are too shy, I don't know what else to tell you, but I'm very easygoing. I smile a lot, so I'm nice. So don't feel afraid. Don't be afraid to ask, because once I leave, then I know what's going to happen. Someone's going to have a question and they're not going to ask, and then they're going to go on my Facebook or Twitter and ask when they could have asked right here. So I'm going to open up for questions. Feel free, okay? Thank you.
Sağ olasın. Soru sorun.
Sevgili konuklarımız, soru cevap kısmına geçiyoruz. Sorularınızı Heath'e sorabilirsiniz.
Kimse sormaz ya, okulda böyle rezillik çıkar hani. Gazeteci gelir de kimse sormaz. Zaten ben sizi anlıyorum ama.
Yok mu?
Sorularınız varsa el kaldırırsanız size mikrofon ulaştıracağız.
Bir de şey diyormuş, Türkçe sorayım herkes anlasın. Terledi.
Yok, ışık geliyor.
Işık mı geliyor?
Herif oradan 2 el kalkıyor.
Mr. Phil, öncelikle
Mr. Phil,
arkadaşlar hoş geldiniz, sayın davetliler. Ben öncelikle Farmatek şahsında Sayın Oscar Hamdemir'e çok teşekkür ediyorum böyle bir organizasyon hazırladığı için. Mr. Phil, Türkiye'ye ve bir dünya şehri olan İstanbul'a hoş geldiniz. Sizi güler yüzlü gördüm. Çok mükemmel bir görüntü var. Tabii insan heyecanlanıyor. Bir Mr. Olympia ünvanını almış, bir dünya şampiyonunun karşısında görünce insan gerçekten heyecanlanıyor. Mr. Phil, size şunu sormak istiyorum. Vücut geliştirme bir yaşam biçimi. siz bu dalda zirveye ulaşmış bir insansınız. Bir vücut geliştirici olarak sizin için olmazsa olmaz olanlar
Ben diyecektim ha. Olmaz.
nelerdir? Tek tek söylemek isterseniz altın kurallarınız nelerdir? Ben çok teşekkür ederim
Taksana
size.
lan şeyi iş. Söyleyecek adam şimdi. Sakın. Taksana şeyi. Söyleyecek şimdi. Altın kurallarını alalım.
Yazın beyler.
I would say
Şunu
I have a
söyleyeyim.
few golden rules. But
Birkaç tane belirlemiş olduğum noktam
I
var.
would say the first rule is
Birincisi
Kuralım.
to sit down,
Oturma.
take a picture of yourself
Kendi resmini
in different poses.
farklı pozlarda
You
kendi
don't have
resmini
to take them
çıkarıyor.
around anyone else.
Her pozisyona giriyorum.
Because the first time I decided to become a bodybuilder, I had roommates and I made sure that they were outside of the house before I took pictures.
Onlar evin dışında olmasa
So I took these photos and then I looked at them and then I asked myself, what would I like to sculpt?
ne yapmak istiyorum?
And I started looking at the magazines. And I would look at guys like Flex Wheeler, Chamray,
Flex Wheeler, Chamray gibi
that
kişilere
had a similar
baktım.
physique like me.
Onların bana benzer fizikleri vardı.
I wanted to maybe round out my shoulders more, or chest, or legs.
Omuzlarım biraz daha yuvarlak olsun, göğüslerim,
In order for me
bacaklarım.
to do that, I had to look at these
Bunu
pictures.
yapabilmek için
And that's when I started referencing the magazines, the videos, and then how they
dergilerden
train.
referans aldım, videolara baktım.
And then those pictures,
Nasıl eğitime tarzı
helped as my
bunlara
guide
baktım.
as I did them, once a
Bu
week.
fotoğraflar bana yol
And
gösterdi.
then,
Haftada bir defa var.
it became, very easy for me to figure out that I had a long way to go.
Bunları tekrar kontrol ediyordum.
So I needed to
Baktıkça çok
have a
yolum
lot
var
of
diyordum
patience,
gittikçe.
and that's another rule.
Biraz sabır, en önemlisi
We all
sabır.
want to become Mr. Olympia tomorrow.
Yarın hemencik Mr. Olympia
But
olmak
it
istiyoruz.
took me almost 10 years to become Mr.
Bu
Olympia.
benim 10 yılım aldı. Mr.
And
Olympia
some
10 yılım aldı.
people, they have trained twice as long
bazı insanlar-
and will never be Mr. Olympia.
Ve bazı insanlar
But
iki katın çalışıyor ve asla Mr.
I
Olympia
always
olamıyor.
tell people that you have to be patient with your results
insanlara
and then
şunları
take the
söylüyorum, sabırlı
photos,
olmanız
because
lazım.
if you take the photographs along with
Fotoğrafları
being
çekin,
patient,
çekin. Çektikçe sabrınız artsın.
it really shows
Sabırlı oldukça çekin.
that, let's say you trained an entire year and you took photos
Bütün
every
yıl
week.
boyunca
I can
eğitime
guarantee you that
kendinize
you would
her
look
hafta
better
fotoğrafınızı
from week
çekin.
1 to week
Ve size
52.
garanti veriyorum.
And some people, they look at themselves in the mirror every day, but they don't see the changes. And
Bazı
it
insanlar
takes,
her gün aynaya
years
bakıyorlar
of
ve değişimi
training. I think
göremiyorlar.
we all know that anything
Yıllarca eğitime tabi olmaktan geçiyor bütün bunlar.
that we do, you don't, like for me, if I wanted to learn your native
Benim
language,
açımdan
I couldn't learn it in just 1 year.
Diyelim ki bir dil
It would
öğreneceksiniz.
probably take
Bir
me
yılda bir dil
longer.
öğrenemezsiniz. Daha uzun zaman alır.
It would take me a long, long time to be a master at it. So I have to
çok uzun.
realize that just with that and in bodybuilding, it
Herhangi bir
takes
konuda
a lifestyle, like you
uzmanlaşmak
say.
için böyle bir şey.
So I'd say always have a plan, take photos,
Geliştirmekte bir
and
yaşam
then
tarzı.
devise up a training
Sizin de görmüş
program
olduğunuz
based off
gibi
those photos and the diet with those
fotoğrafınızı
photos.
çekmekte başlayın.
And then
Ona
stay
uygun bir şekilde
patient. And
beslenmekle
then
çalışma programı oluşturmak,
not be
sabırlı
afraid
olmak.
to give yourself time to recover
Asla
while you train.
kendinize
Because a lot of guys think that they have to
yapıyorum diye
train
durup
for 3 to 4
düşündüğü
hours
zaman
a day.
bırakmayın.
7 days
4
a
saat
week.
boyunca burada
That's maybe what
çalışıyorsanız
they did
bir
back in
gün boyunca
Arnold's day, source
pek çok kişi böyle yapıyor.
But now
Ahmet
you don't have to
Schwarzenegger
do that. If you,
vesaire.
I always say anywhere from
Yapıyorlar
1 to
ama
2
artık buna
hours
gerek yok.
maximum. 5 to 6
Bir iki
days a
saat
week is
maksimum.
plenty enough time.
Haftanın
But
5-6 günü
especially now that we
çalışmak
have,
yeter.
more knowledge of food and
Bildiğinizde
training,
daha fazla gıda
that you need to make
öğrenebiliriz.
sure that
Antrenmanlar
all those
konusunda
are
daha
affected
ayrıntılı
along
bilgilere
with proper
sahibiz.
sleep and not being able, not
Tabii
being
uygun
afraid to
yeterli
take
uyku
a day
lazım.
off. I think
Asla
sometimes we get so excited and we
Bugün
want to
kendinize
train
off günü
every
vermekten
day.
çekinmeyin.
But once that
Her gün
adrenaline wears
egzersiz
off,
yapacak diye bir şey yok.
your body gets tired. And you have to understand that your body sometimes needs to
yorulur.
reset. So it's okay to rest.
Bedeninizin
Make
bazen
sure that you
gerçekten
learn how
dinlenmeye
to
ihtiyacı var.
recover.
Dinlenmekten
So
zarar
always
gelmez.
staying patient, learning how to
Kendinizi
recover,
yenilemeniz için gerekiyor.
taking the right amount of pictures to
Dinlenmeyi
research
bilin.
your body,
Fotoğraf çekin.
and then having a willingness to learn. I think that's
Keşfedin.
very, very important.
Öğrenmeye açık olun. En önemli nokta bu.
And staying humble. Those two things, I think, go hand in hand.
Ve mutlaka iki şey bir
I
arada.
think what ends up happening with a lot of people that start gaining mass very fast,
Çok kişi bu anlamda.
they don't have a willingness to learn
Vücut
anymore.
kaslarını
They
geliştirmeye
think they know
çalışıyorlar.
everything. Because
fazla
people
öğrenmeye
will
açık
tell them,
değiller.
oh, you look fantastic. So that
Ben
person
oldum
thinks,
bitti,
well, I don't need to
geliştirmeye
listen to
açık
Phil.
değiller
He's
bu
like,
yönde.
what does he know? He's
Ama onu dinlememe gerek yok. Ne biliyor ki o?
But
Sadece
I say that because my own son
ama
doesn't listen to me when I teach him how to lift. Because he thinks
kendi
he
oğlum
knows
bile beni
everything.
dinlemiyor.
But
Kendi biliyor her şeyi ona göre.
I think
O yüzden diyeceğim
what
fikir.
got me successful very fast is that I was very coachable. I had always had a willingness to learn. I'm always
Ben
watching
gerçekten
videos. I'm
çok
always
eğitilebilir
reading
bir yapıdayım. Her zaman
articles. I'm
öğrenmeye
Mr.
çalışıyorum.
Olympian.
Her
I'm
zaman
still
videolar
reading
izliyorum ve makaleler okuyorum ve
about
Mr.
different types of
Olympia
supplements and
yıl da hala okuyorum.
understanding why they
Türlü
work,
türlü
how they
şeyler.
work, how
Besin
they work for
destekleri
me as
konusunda ne
opposed
işe
to the next
yararlar, bana ne
person.
yaparlar.
Because one day I would like to be a coach
Yanındakine
and
ne
help
faydası
other
var.
people. And that
Benim
allows me
koç
to help
olacaksam
you guys
başkalarına
when I
da
write articles in
öğreteceğim,
the
yol
magazine.
göstereceğim.
So always having a willingness to
Dergilerde,
learn, going to
gazetelerde
seminars like
her
this,
şey
getting new
önemli.
perspective.
Bu türden
That's what it's
seminerlere
about.
gitmek,
It's to
yeni
get
bir
new
yaklaşım
perspective
kazanmak.
on,
Bütün olay
how
bu.
I do it compared to
Yeni bir
another
yaklaşım.
athlete. And then just being humble and having fun.
Başka bir sporcuyla karşılaştım.
Bodybuilding is a journey. It's a long journey. And you're going to have
Bodybuilding
ups and
dediğimiz zaman
downs.
uzun bir
And
yolculuktan
especially people
bahsediyoruz.
that compete.
İnişli
You're
çıkışlı
not
bir
going to
yol
win
var.
every show. I'm sorry. It's just not going to
Rekabete.
happen. No one has a perfect
Her
record.
şeyi kazanacaksın.
But
Çek.
a measurement of a man is never based on when you're up top. It's always measured when you get knocked down, and then how you pick yourself back up. And that's what I always, rely on and understand that.
Gücü bulmak.
When I don't succeed, or even though I won the Olympia, I didn't maybe hit the goal that I had in my mind. I look at that and say, it's okay. Be thankful. Be excited about what you accomplished.
Heyecanımızı koruyalım.
And then always have the willingness to come back better and stronger the next time. And always at the end of the day, be happy about life and be positive. Because if you cannot be positive with this type of lifestyle, you'll never make it.
Olumlu olmadan
You'll always be negative and say, oh gosh, I have to go to the gym. I have to do cardio.
şöyle yapsam
We all know these people that go to the gym.
değil yani.
They're getting ready for a show. How do you feeling? Oh, I feel like crap. Oh, I have to do stupid cardio. Oh, I have to do this. Why are you doing it? No one's putting a gun up to your head saying train, eat, sleep. If you decide to be a bodybuilder, you sign up to eat right, train smart, and really have fun. This is supposed to be fun. That's why I think people may think I'm on drugs or something because I'm always smiling all the time. But it's really because of the fact that I just enjoy how I feel and how I look every day by going into the gym. That is my drug. I love it. I feel strong and I look a little bit better each day. So I think a lot of people, they need to be a little bit more positive with this, because that's what it's about. I think what made bodybuilding years ago with Arnold Schwarzenegger was that how positive he was, and that's what I try to tell everybody in here. So those are really my rules, and I hope that maybe it'll help you. Yeah.
Aynen. Benim kurallarım bunlar. Eksiğim de ikinci olarak. Teşekkürler.
Kameraman çıkarsın.
Ben öncelikle vücut geliştirme yapan herkesi kocaman bir aile olarak görüyorum. Ve seni de bu ailenin bir bireyi olarak gördüğüm için sana hoş geldin kardeşim demek istiyorum. İstanbul'a hoş geldin.
Hello bro.
Kardeşin kelimesini anlayamadım ya.
Bro işte.
İnşallah bu ilk gelişin ama sonra olmaz. Daha sonraki yıllarda seni yine burada görmek istiyoruz. Olimpiya olmasan da olsan da bizim için artık fark etmiyor. Ben şunu sormak istiyorum. Aslında çok merak ettiğim bir konu. Bununla ilgili birçok makale okuyabiliyorsun ama herkes farklı bir şey söylüyor. Senin gibi gıda konusunda artık profesyonel olmuş ve gelecekte de koçluk yapmayı hedefleyen birine bu soruyu sormanın doğru olacağını düşünüyorum. Kan grubuna göre beslenmeyi doğru buluyor musun? Bu konuda ne düşünüyorsun? Bu konuda bana bizlere bilgi verirsen çok seviniriz. Teşekkür ederim. Tekrar hoş geldin.
Böyle bir şey var mı?
Thank you.
Çok
I'll
teşekkür
definitely be
ederim.
back in Turkey. No question about it. I have a good,
Tabii
I
ki
have a good
kesinlikle
feeling
Türkiye'ye
that
tekrar geleceğim.
this won't be the last time for sure.
Ve bir kesin. Asla son olmayacak. Teşekkür ederim.
You know, I've heard of blood type diets before.
Ben de duydum ki bu kan grubuna
I
göre
can't say that I've
beslenmeyi
ever tried it.
meselesini hiç
But
denemedim.
it's definitely something I
Ama
would have considered learning about a little bit more.
Öğrenmeyi de değer buluyorum
I know
neticede.
right now a lot of people are having
Şu anda biliyorum pek çok
with
insan
like allergies and things of that nature.
alerji vesaire gibi konulara dönüp bakmayı tercih ediyor ama biraz bu noktadan bakmak gerekiyor. Bu noktadaki bilinci geliştirmek gerekiyor. Pek çok insan yumurtanın beyazını yemiyor. Bazı protein gruplarına karşı, kas geliştirici gıdalara karşı alerjisi var. Ben olayın bu kısmıyla ilgileniyorum şu anda. Eğer bir eğitmen koç olacaksam, herkesin beyaz, yumurta beyazına alerjisi var mı yok mu, kırmızı et yiyebiliyor mu, bunlara bakıyorum. Farklı kan grupları bu anlamda belki beslenme, hangisinin karbonhidratı, hangisinin protein ihtiyacı olduğunu var belki bir yol gösterici olabilir. Henüz ben daha koç olmadığım için ayrıntılı bilgiye sahip değilim. O yüzden koç olduğum zaman daha fazlasını bilip daha fazlasıyla insanlara yardımcı olabileceğim diye ümit ediyorum. Keşke bu soruya cevap verebilseydim. Jay Cutler'la bu konuya bahsettik, konuştuk. Jay Cutler'la bazı konuyla ilgili bilgileri vardı ama fakat hangi kan grubuydu kendisi bilmiyorum ama hangi karbonhidratlar onun için daha iyi oluyor, hangisi benim için daha iyi olur, sohbetimiz olmuştu. Benim için hiç anlamlı gelmemişti konuştuğumuz esnada ama zaman içerisinde daha fazla anlam ifade edecek, zaman içerisinde daha çok araştırmak gerekiyor. Teşekkür ederim sorduğunuz için. Az önce de söylemiş olduğum gibi öğrenmeye açık olmak gerekiyor. Muhtemelen iyi bir uygulamadır. Belki benim beslenme alışkanlığımdan başka bir şey çıkartıp başka bir şey almam gerekiyor. Dönüp bakmam lazım, araştırmam lazım. Teşekkür ediyorum. Dikkatimi çektiğiniz için bu konuyu sağ olun.
First of all, thank you for coming. You honored us in coming to Istanbul, Turkey. I got two questions. First one, we know you're Mr. Olympia twice. But still, do you find
Mr. Olympia oldunuz iki kez ama vücudunuzu zayıf olarak bulduğunuz bir kasınız var mı? Bu birincisi. İkincisi, en iyi şampiyonunuz hangisi? Teşekkür.
Adam İngilizce sordu, Türkçe geldi.
İngilizce sordu, Türkçe çevirdi.
Sorry.
Orada Türkçe konuşuyor, o da anlamıyor.
Çok iyi. Çok iyi ya.
First of all, thank you for coming. You honored us in coming to Turkey, Istanbul. I got two questions. First one is, we know you are Mr. Olympia twice, but still, do you find any muscle on your body weak still? And secondly, who is your toughest rival in the championships? Thank you.
Right now, I think the toughest